What's up with it? You watching the Big Bomber TV? Here we about to check out this video from the YouTube channel Warren Cali, and the title is Oakland Child Trafficker Faces Karma Being Taken Out. Yeah, man, that's a fool with it, man. He definitely needed to get taken out playing with kids, man, for real though. Yeah, man, like I respect a lot of elements of the game, but man, I never respect people playing with kids, man, for real. Like back in the days, man, if somebody heard you was like abusing kids and whooping on your wife, man, or something like that, and she like a good woman, man, shit, the neighborhood will team up on you, man, come pack you out, for real though. The neighborhood will come together and come and get you, man, for real. But over time though, man, that kind of changed, man. A lot of people just mind their business and stuff, you know what I mean? Because you know what happened to heroes a lot of the time. But like back in the days though, neighborhoods used to enforce, man, for real though. But yeah, I haven't checked out the video, don't know completely what they talking about, but let's check it out and see what they talking about. Yeah.
Another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm gonna detail the story of an Oakland pimp. Now in the urban community, pimping has always been a staple and a big hustle known to many. Getting money out of female has always been looked upon as a thing to brag about in the culture, and having multiple women willing to do whatever for you has always been praised. Now, pimping goes back several decades, and even prostitution goes all the way back to the Bible days. So the trade has been around longer than any of us have existed. And in Oakland, pimping is one of the biggest hustles around. Many known pimps come from the Bay Area, and some come from Oakland to be exact. Some being pimps like the Ward brothers and Kenny Red, among many others. Oakland's main area for prostitution, which is called the Blade, is International Boulevard, and everyone from low-level pimps to the biggest in the game have walked those streets. And one of the low-level pimps will be a man named Darius. Now, Darius had been pimping for a while, but Darius always targeted young teenage girls, ages ranging from 14 to 17 years old. Most of these young girls came from group homes, bad family situations, and some were runaways. And Darius, he chose those type of girls because they were easy to manipulate and use. Darius had many tactics to run in young women's lives. Using his fists against them was the biggest one. During his pimping journey, Darius had a few run-ins with the law, mostly being from pimping minors and also just pimping in general. But he never faced any real charges and always let go after a while. In March of 2017, a 15-year-old who I will call Janet ran away from her home in Fresno. She worked as a prostitute on International in Oakland. After a couple weeks, Janet met another runaway who was 17, and her name was Melissa. Melissa was also working as a prostitute. Janet began working on the team with Melissa for another pimp, but that wouldn't last long. Things would take a turn for the worse when Janet met Darius. The relationship between Janet and Darius began when Melissa, who worked for Darius in the past, decided to work for him again. She also convinced Janet to work for him as well. Melissa told Janet that Darius was a pimp that she used to work for in the past, and that he was the father of Melissa's unborn child. The girls slept in Darius' car or housing that he arranged. They gave him all the money they earned, and Darius drove them to and from the Blade. He also circled nearby in his car while they worked. A 14-year-old girl named Destiny was Darius' top girl, also known as his bottom bitch. Janet rarely communicated directly with Darius.
Man, what kind of pimping is that, man? That boy got a damn 14-year-old as his bottom. That boy got a youngster as his bottom hoe, man. What the hell, man? For real, though, man. I know he ain't had too many people around him, because I don't think too many people would be cool with that, man. For real, though. Man, I ain't gonna lie. From the pictures, though, man, he ain't seem like no fly-ass dude like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Official pimps, man. Niggas gonna be the flyest niggas. You know what I'm saying? For real, though, man. Yeah, it definitely seemed like he probably was gorilla pimping or something, man, because it don't seem like he was like that fly, man, like that, man, you know what I'm saying? You know, the hoes want the fly nigga, man, you know what I'm saying? Get the attention, man, you know what I mean? When a nigga ride by, man, your head's turning, man, that's what the hoes like, man. They want to be noticed, man, with the biggest player, man, you know what I'm saying? For real, though. Yeah, man, shit, you with a bummy pimp, that's embarrassing, man, for real, though.
Instead, she communicated via text with Destiny. One night, Darius and the three girls were on their way to San Jose. Destiny sat in the front passenger seat, and before they left Oakland, Darius stopped at a gas station. Melissa and Destiny were arguing, and this upset Darius. He punched Melissa in the face 5 times. When Janet tried to help Melissa, Darius hit Janet in the face as well. Then he drove away, leaving Melissa and Janet to find their own way to the Blade. The next day, Melissa and Janet saw Darius again and got in his car. Darius would drive them to another blade in San Jose. Once they arrived in San Jose, Melissa and Darius began to argue. He would hit Melissa, then throw her on the ground and kicked her in the face. Darius would also hit Janet. As the girls worked the blade, Darius drove around to see if the girls were catching dates. Melissa would later be arrested by the police, and since being a minor, she was later taken to a group home. That night, Janet had an overnight date. She spent the night with the customer, who later drove her back to Oakland on International Boulevard. The following day, she saw Darius and Destiny. Janet feared she was going to get beat, but eventually got in the car with Darius and Destiny. Darius asked Janet for the money from her date, and Janet refused. She told Darius she wanted to go back to Fresno. Darius became angry and drove Janet to a vacant parking lot. He asked where the money was, and Janet denied she had any. Darius repeatedly punched Janet in the face and removed all her clothes. He took the money and also the clothes that she was wearing and drove away. When a police officer was called by an eyewitness, the officer observed scratches to Janet's face, chest, and bruising around her left eye. 2 months later, Destiny was arrested for prostitution, but she was released. At the time, she had Darius' ID in her purse. She later identified him as her brother. After she was released, police officers followed Destiny to Darius and arrested him. Some of the charges that Darius faced were human trafficking, robbery, possession of a firearm, among many others. At trial, Melissa would testify, telling everything she experienced with Darius. Darius would later be sentenced to 15 years to life in 2019, but that's not the end of his story. 5 years into his prison stint, Darius on November 9th, 2024, he would face his karma. At 3:19, November 9th, 2024, officers observed a man named Greg who was 58 in a cell with bloodstains all over his clothing. Greg's cellmate was 41-year-old Darius, who was observed unresponsive in the cell. Medical staff arrived and began life-saving measures on Darius and alerted 911. Darius was transported to the hospital, where paramedics arrived and pronounced Darius deceased at 3:48 p.m.
The Corrections Department is also investigating the death of a man at Kern Valley State Prison. It happened around 2:30 last Friday afternoon. Officers found Gregory Clark in his cell with blood on his clothing. Staff immediately removed Clark, and that's when they found Clark's cellmate, Darius Swain, unresponsive in the cell. He was pronounced dead minutes later. His cause of death has not yet been determined. Clark has been placed in restricted housing pending the investigation.
Police have no motive on what happened or why Greg did what he did. And since this just happened in November, this case probably won't be decided for a while. But with all that happened with Darius, you can say, karma always comes back to you.
Man, facts.
This will conclude this episode, if you haven't already.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I don't feel bad for that nigga at all, man. For real, playing with kids like that, man. Yeah, man, this is a sad reality though, man. Yeah, them girls be forced to grow up and do what they gotta do sometimes, man, and it be sad because it be like a home situation sometimes, man. Sometimes people be having like parents on drugs and shit like that, and they ain't getting taken care of, so they look for ways to take care of themselves and shit, you know what I'm saying? Just like a young man, shit, he might turn to selling drugs or something, you know what I'm saying? That's just the sad reality of the hood, man, for real though. Even like if they is like some young girls and they already out there, man, just leave their ass alone, man, for real though. They don't need no pimp. Yeah, let them do what they do on their own, man, for real though, because it's a bad look, man, to be fucking around with minors and shit, man. I don't respect that shit, man, for real though. And it seemed like pimping just ain't for a lot of dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't flying that nigga, man, shit, you shouldn't even be in that profession, man. Go find you something else to do, man. Go beat up some niggas or something and rob them niggas or something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I definitely think he had that coming, man, for real though. I think OG probably got a hint of that paperwork or something and knew what he was in there for, man, for real though. Then think about it, people be in there missing their kids, be having daughters, you know what I'm saying? Dudes be having wives and shit they missing, mamas and shit. So yeah, man, everything be a trigger, man, for real though. Yeah, let me know what y'all think about this situation in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to the Big Mama TV. Appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for supporting. Till next time, peace. Yeah.